Welcome back to Range Anxiety TV for 2026. Yes, we've been doing a few reruns, a bit like Gilligan's Island, but am I Skipper, Gilligan, the Professor, or maybe even Ginger? Now, today we're talking about something that's quite near, dear and close to my heart. I doubt we'll see this thing in Australia anytime soon. Unfortunately, I'll have a little cry now. However, it's a bloody good thing. We're talking about the Rivian R2, or as my beloved wife calls it, tic-tac eyes. Anything with Rivian with those tic-tac looking headlights. A bit ugly, only a mother could love sort of thing, but Rivian's growing on me. I think they're a good company. They've come through with all of the startup issues that Tesla had many years ago, and scale and production hell and all of that sort of stuff, and they seem to be getting somewhere. So to be totally transparent, yes, I'm a shareholder, yes, I bought it quite cheap, and let's hope Rivian goes somewhere. However, the R2, it's a good looking thing. You know, it's an SUV. I mean, I'm not a SUV fan. However, the world loves buying SUVs, and the R2 looks to be aimed directly at the Model Y. Tesla, as a Model Y competitor, pricing isn't out officially by the time you see this, but I think it'll be a pretty good job. For a start, it's more off-road focused than the Tesla. It has like rock crawl modes and all sorts of things with its dual motor setup, which should make it instantly good for all of those people that just like driving in mud and dirt and crap like that. I'm not one of them. I just think if you want to go somewhere like where you're going to cross that terrain, catch a plane, use half a brain. And welcome back to 2026, Gawith. There he is, right there. Sporty. Now, the R2's been spotted on and off for over 12 months in camo. You can see one up there in camo. It's boxy. You wouldn't think it would have very good aero, but it does. But it's just been released for journos to have a quick drive of. And of course, Rivian have started at the top, releasing or giving to the journos the top spec car to drive, which is something like 655 horsepower thing that, you know, does 0 to 100 similar times. I think a little bit slower than the Tesla Model Y. But I mean, when you're going that fast in a SUV, it really doesn't matter, because fast is as fast. You know, it's fast enough, is what I'm saying. If you're driving a SUV, it's not a sports car. However, you can, you know, that line is becoming blurred. I suppose to be a big player in a SUV market, now you've got to have a fast SUV. So there you go, it's a fast SUV. But it does some cool stuff. It's got power outlets built into it. You know, it's vehicle to load, I believe. And, you know, it's got all of the modern things that a modern EV SUV should have. If they can price it the same as a Model Y, it's going to be super successful. You know, and there are people that think Elon's a stalk. And it could be that way, and, you know, his heart goes out to everybody. And so there will be people that will just buy these instead of a Tesla because of RJ Scaringe, who's the CEO, isn't a noob online. I mean, he seems like quite a nice, well-spoken bloke, you know. So, yeah, there'll be people that protest by, you know, and they'll sell plenty of them regardless. You know, the interior and UI, I believe, well, especially the UI, I'm not much one for coloured stitching and fake wood and all of that stuff that makes me wince, you know, gets my eye trembling. The UI in Rivian is good enough that a failing Volkswagen had to throw their Cariad business in the bin that they spent, you know, $10 billion on trying to make, what, touch buttons work and couldn't, and they've contracted Rivian. So Rivian's UI is very good. The user interface, they know how to lay out a screen, they know how to integrate properly, and compared to pretty much any other EV out there other than Tesla, they're leading it. You know, they do a very good job. They even had this funky Night Rider mode and Halloween mode once. You know, they're pretty cool, and it works well. But I think the big push with these cars, if you look at the picture up here, is that the shape and the style lends itself to customizing, you know, in that Cali sort of tradition where people will make woodies. We'll see if make a woody, please. Justin, I'll get Justin the photographer, because he's like, does all this shit too quickly. I'll get him to woody the side of ones. Can we do that? So we can have a look at a woody. Yeah, Woody Rivian, he's nodding. Very good, Justin. Thank you. I think they're really going to open themselves up to lifts and customising and big wheels and woodying and surfboards on the roof and all of that sort of crap. And that's the vibe that Tesla never captured. So I think, and it's the vibe that VW did capture with the ID Buzz, but the car itself was, well, van or whatever you want to call it, was so shit. You basically just had to, charge it every 10 minutes and throw it in the bin after a year, and it was super expensive. I think the Rivian's going to fill that gap, and there's going to be a lot of coolness there. So we'll see what happens. March 15 or 20th or something is when the pricing comes out. I don't expect it to be super cheap, and I don't ever expect to see it in Australia. I mean, they even delayed on their website, Rivian, the left-hand drive launch in Europe. So if they're not even got enough left-hand drive to do that, they're certainly not going to make right-hand drive for us. But, this is production hell, and hopefully the S-curve of scaling, they will be able to get over it pretty soon. But anyway, I'm excited about this product. I think it's a very good product. I think it will sell very well. And I think Rivian is, one of those companies that was teetering on the edge of survival there for a while. They still have a long way to go in terms of being able to be properly financially viable and make a profit. However, bloody good company, bloody good product, and I'm looking forward to seeing how far this can go. So thank you once more for tuning into Range Anxiety TV.